Hey, everybody, Happy New Year's. I've been getting asked this for a couple months now, repeatedly. So I figured I'd put it together, put it on wax for you. It took me a little bit of time, but this is everything from start to finish on a 30-day escrow process. More importantly, how to have a smooth 30-day escrow process from the eyes of a mortgage lender like myself. Now, it's going to be more lender heavy as far as the processes and milestones, but it's good to have a look at this so you can marry up with your lending partner, whoever you use. If you don't use us, boo. But either way, I hope this comes in handy because this is definitely, in my world, at least for myself and my team, everything's checks and balances, processes, and turnaround times. And we keep cranking it down daily. Where can we improve? How can we get a little bit quicker? How can we not only communicate, but educate and come and work together with all parties in an escrow process? So I want to go through this here with you. Again, soup to nuts. So let's say we opened escrow. Yay, everybody's excited. This top sunshine, orange, tangerine, whatever you want to call it, this is going to be the lender process and milestones and what we're doing. We have the buyers here in a medium gray, a darker blue for the escrow, and a lighter blue for both buyer and seller agents. So starting off day one, it's really important, at least from a lender's point of view. So if your lender's not jumping out the gate, I'm like a pit bull on crack on a leash. As soon as I can get two things that I need, all file contacts, as well as the fees from escrow. As soon as that leash releases me, I am out the gate like a bullet from hell. So really, it's important, though, again, for your lender, you got to prep and set expectations, okay? So like I tell my clients, we have an initial call as soon as we open escrow, and I send them an updated list of documents that we need as soon as possible. Secondly, I'm going to introduce them to all the players on my team. If my processor is going to reach out, if my loan partner is going to reach out, they know their name, they have their contact info, and we also introduce them via email on that initial list. And then most importantly, you got to discuss turnaround times and what's to be expected. Now, I always tell my clients, I'm really God's honest truth. I'm not trying to be salesy. I'm not trying to be a weenie or push you, but every time we request something, we need a same day or next morning within 24 hours. And that is sole purpose to protect your money, your initial deposit, because we want to make sure appraisal's in, values there, home inspections are done, and loan is approved, and there's no landmines on those conditions. Fortunately, we're front loaded here on documentation. So usually our buyers only have a handful of conditions, and they're all minor. But some lenders, they got 20 to 30 conditions because they put in skinny files. Secondly, as a lender, I'm going to request an opening needs list with escrow. Now, myself or my loan partner is going to do this day one within the first couple hours. As soon as I get escrow's contact info, we're banging out an email to them. And the main thing, we're going to give them our needs list, but the main thing we're going to reiterate to them, we need their fees ASAP. And I mean, if I can get them within an hour or two, that's fantastic. If I don't have fees by the next middle of the next day, I'm sending out initial disclosures on what we call template fees. As a lender, template fees are inflated. So real important side note, I can always send out disclosures with inflated fees and reduce them to be accurate. I cannot send out on fees that are reduced and increase them to be accurate, or now we got all sorts of back end violations and the lender's going to have to pay for them. So if we have to send them out on template fees, so be it. We always update and redisclose and go through it with the client again. But again, major thing we need are those fees. Obviously, the buyers are going to start submitting all their updated documents because we need 30 days most recent. And as a lender, I always tell them, start shopping around for homeowners insurance, get us back a quote and a contact within 7 to 10 days, and we'll update your file with the insurance you want to run with. So with escrow, obviously get the wire instructions to the buyer and be sure to include the lender on the opening email. So 9 times out of 10, us poor lenders, we get let off of that initial email, which has all the file contacts. Sometimes TCs take a day or two. I'm not bagging on anybody or any angle of this, just letting you know what we see from our side. So if you're the buyer's agent and you see an email from Escrow, simply forward it on to your lender. Hey, here's the Escrow company. So that way they can reach out and order the updated needs list and the fees that we need so we can disclose and be compliant. So moving right along, day 1, day 2, as I mentioned, we're trying to get initial disclosures out to the buyers right away. Perfect world, Escrow sends us the fees within day 1, day 2 to send out the disclosures. And then that way we can send the disclosures and get them returned from our buyers, as well as order the appraisal. My goal is always to order the appraisal by day 2, worst case day 3, so we can start that turnaround and then begin collecting any missing documentation from the escrow company along with the buyer, as they usually send them in within the first couple days here. So as we move forward, escrow sends the remaining opening documents, prelim, escrow instructions, you name it. They send it back to us so we can start prepping the file to submit to underwriting. I want that thing in within 5 to 7 days is usually when I want that full package going into escrow. Again, like I mentioned, the buyers send in their escrow quote with the contact info to us. So we have that, we can update it. Big side note, take a note of this. Always keep this in the forefront. Get those HOA documents out the door. Make sure escrow orders any solar docs that are needed or the sellers. And most importantly, get that package out, the opening package, to the buyers. Because one of the big things we're waiting on at the end when it has solar is a solar docs or HOA docs sometimes. But 9 times out of 10, or should I say 8 out of 10, we're banging on escrow's door in week 3. Hey, let us get the vesting. We need the vesting on how they're going to hold title, because we got to match up exactly to how escrow's holding it as well, so we can issue the closing disclosure, because we can't issue it without it. So get all those packages ordered up with escrow. Make sure you have your TC. Maybe make a note after 7 days. Hey, has that package gone out to escrow? Day 7, day 10, loan gets approved. Everybody's happy. Now I got this red lines through here because this is an important time as well. So the lender's going to request all of the loan approval items with the title, escrow, and the buyers. So we're going to request all of them here. Appraisal gets received, comes in at value, but how quick that lender not only gets out the gate like we looked at, but how quick do they turn around these documents? That's where that old phrase, garbage in, garbage out, comes into play. So any of you guys that have done business with us, we're a full file going in. I mean, there is no stone unturned. So we usually have pretty clean approvals. Appraisal comes in, appraisal gets sent to the buyers as well as the buyer's agent. We cannot issue it to the listing agent, and please don't ask a lender to send it to you or have your TC request it, because if it's a newer loan officer and they accidentally send it, my God, they're going to get reamed. So all prior to doc conditions are submitted. And so we're moving along here. This is the end of week 2. So by week 2, we have the appraisal in, we have the loan approved. I assume all buyers inspections are done. Day 12 through 25, the closing disclosure is issued. As I mentioned before, though, we have to have that vesting. So the sooner escrow can get that out, the sooner we can issue the closing disclosure. Without it, we cannot. And we got to hang tight. And we all know there's a 3-day wait period to sign docs after the closing disclosure is signed. So day 14 to 16, file is submitted for a clear to close. We get our clear to close pretty quick, same day, next day. Clear to close is issued, and then it goes into our doc department. So the closing department starts prepping the closing docs and balancing with escrow. One major thing to note here, I've had this happen a couple times in the last 6 months. Tell your clients, for the love of God, do not get fired and do not quit your job until this loan gets closed, because it will get found out. So all lenders have to get a verbal verification of employment with each of their current employers before they can send docs out to escrow, to make one to make sure that, one, they haven't put in their 2 weeks, two, they haven't been fired or let go or gone somewhere else, or three, their hours have been cut to part-time. You name it, it all has to be copacetic. So this is a 10-second call to confirm they're still employed. And then docs get sent to escrow. So they shoot down over here to the escrow department and they prep the closing docs for the buyer or buyers to sign. Take note, termite clearance. If you have termite on that contract, most lenders allow you to have it as a prior to funding condition. Okay, so I don't need it until we need to fund. Some lenders are prior to doc, but those guys a little bit tight with that. Most lenders are prior to funding. So shooting over here, closing docs get assigned to a notary, or they have the buyers come in and sign the closing documents at the escrow office, preferably. And then shortly thereafter, same day, next day, always have your clients send the final wire to escrow right after they sign. And then what will happen is the signed docs go back to the lender, or at least a copy, so the funder can issue funding conditions. And then really it's up to the funder and escrow to clear all of these funding conditions off so we can fund. And once we do, obviously escrow goes down to the county and records at the county recorder, and then it's all said and done. So I know this was a lot. I hope it did help to make some sense. But again, it's all about partnering up with the right people. And it's like dating or getting married. You learn how the other one operates. You help each other along the way. So hopefully you guys can move in sync in a parallel manner towards the same ultimate goal, because really all you guys are doing is entrusting a lender with, hey, here's our commission check. I'd like it back in 30 to 45 days, right? So if this diagram can help you guys better understand what's going on the back end, but more importantly, help you develop a plan with your current lender. Hey, this is what he's going through, or maybe he's got a couple tweaks at different spots. That's okay. Every lender's a little bit different, but that's pretty much the gist of the overall process. So if you have any questions on it, feel free to shoot me a call or an email. Hope you guys have a wonderful and a blessed week, and looking forward to speaking to you soon.